our schedule, we have gotten everybody's request to speak, and we have 8 currently. We have a total speaking time for public participation of 30 minutes this evening. So we will go ahead and, in a second here when we call roll and stuff, but just to let you all know, we will do our best. Like I said, if you keep your comments succinct and we can get on to the next person, then hopefully we'll be able to hear from all 8 people. And if not, like I said, we do have a 30-minute time limit. So appreciate that. Before we get started tonight, we'd just like to have a little word. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. I thank you for all these people who are here this evening. I thank you for their concerns. I thank you for their love of our school district. I pray that you will be with all of us this evening, that things said and done can be pleasing. And Lord, I just thank you for all of our staff, for our administration, for our students. God, continue to allow us to serve the best that we can. In Jesus' name, amen. At this time, if you'll call roll, Mr. Teeters.
Mrs. Rhodes.
Here.
Mr. Lyons.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Milbury.
Here.
Mr. Myers.
Here.
Miss Myers.
Here.
This time we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This evening we have one addition to the agenda. Under item number 11, we have some addition. We have an additional person on the employment list. So, and at this time, we'll go right into our public participation. Like I said, I do have these. So, in the order in which they came in, this is Jamara Captain. You would like to?
You want us to just stand here? Do you want the podium?
Whichever way you like. It doesn't matter to me. If you want the podium, we can move that around.
Speakers prefer the podium?
Mayor, I just need to be able to hear you.
I know.
I'm deaf.
I know.
You might not be able to hear me.
Look at her when you're talking.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'll stand like this. I'll just show my age here with my readers.
Go ahead.
My name is Jamara Captain. I'm with the HARD organization, Hillsboro Against Racism and Discrimination. I'm a third generation resident. Both myself and my husband graduated from Hillsboro City Schools. I have a son who's 19 who graduated in 2019 at the age of 16 and currently attends Wilmington College as a junior. Another son who is not only a senior athlete but also a 4.8 student as well as a third grader. As you can see, I'm a black woman. I'm also a wife and a mother of 3 boys. My family and I have unfortunately faced much adversity when it comes to Hillsboro City Schools, whether it be in the classroom, on the court, and this year on the golf course. I have stood here many times to express the oppression of black students, as well as sit in several conference rooms with various administrations in hopes that they would right a wrong that they caused. It's heartbreaking when any marginalized individuals, especially students, have to experience what I consider hate by grown-ass adults with degrees acting badly. I'm here to show my support and stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community, and especially our students. I want to read Hillsboro's district vision and mission statement. Their vision statement: the Hillsboro City School District is the best, most innovative educational experience where all students achieve excellence and a friendly and cooperative culture. Mission statement: we provide a well-rounded experience that prepares each student to be successful in life. Now I'm just going to read a couple of definitions of some words that I feel are of importance. Acceptance: the action or process of being received as adequate and suitable. Inclusion: the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. Discrimination: unfair or prejudicial treatment of people and groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, or sexual orientation. Bullying, an ongoing and deliberate misuse of power and relationships through repeated verbal, physical, and/or social behavior that intends to cause physical, social, and/or psychological harm. It can involve an individual or group misusing their power over one or more persons who feel unable to stop it from happening. Despite what you all believe, your intent, whatever your intent was, the impact of your decision to cancel Chic Hills Monsters was detrimental to our LGBTQ plus students, especially since they had no involvement on the decision, and they were also willing to cooperate fully in making some changes. But apparently you all couldn't get over the fact of an implied gay character in the play. Representation matters. What our young people see around them positively or negatively shapes their expectations for themselves and for each other. When it comes to our classrooms and schools, it's imperative that we all do our part to make sure they can see themselves and all of their peers as strong, creative, capable, and connected. From what I see, I believe you all to be, and this is no disrespect, but from what I believe, I see that you all are white, straight, and majority male. Those in your position do have the option to not place hardship on any marginalized students, but instead of providing a well-rounded experience that prepares each student to be successful in life, you're creating obstacles and adversity for those not living up to your straight white Christian profile. You all have the privilege to not experience racism, sexism, homophobia, and so on, except our young lady at the table, as far as sexism. And we're not okay with what went down and how it did go down. We're expecting you to mitigate the damage you've caused immediately. In doing so, we understand that if we can't get closure at this meeting, that there will be an executive meeting held ASAP to discuss a public apology, renting out the auditorium, discussing criteria for future plays, and so on. As a resident of color and someone who stands in solidarity with our marginalized individuals, I have yet to see those in city and school administrative positions promote coexisting and co-creating. Hillsboro has more than just straight white Christian folks. It's time to act like it. If you don't agree with something in the play, don't go. As in everything else, just because you think you run everything doesn't mean you can belittle, demean, discriminate, disrespect, and dismantle what you don't agree with.
Next up, we have Mr. Patrick Shanahan.
Stand over here. Good evening. I'm Patrick Shanahan. I'm a 2014 graduate of Hillsboro High School, and I'm here to share my thoughts on the school administration's decision to cancel the play. So we can go back and forth all day arguing about whether or not homophobia played a role in this. You know, we can turn it into a courtroom drama, trying to present the evidence. But the reality is that it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Because it's not about the intent, it is about the impact. So regardless of what the intent of this decision was, the impact is that it has created a perception of homophobia. It's created a perception amongst your LGBT students that the school does not value them. And that's what the administration needs to take responsibility for. They need to address the perception that they have created, regardless of what their intent was. And I also want to point out that this is not an unreasonable perception for people to have. When you look at the information that's available in newspaper stories, when you look at the sequence of events, it's not the slightest bit unreasonable for people to look at this and think that something doesn't add up. So again, it's not about the intent, it's about the impact. Maybe this was made with the best intent. Maybe you guys really do have the best. I would like to believe you have the best interests of your students in mind. But like I said, it's about the impact. And that's what I'd like to see you all address. And I'd also just like to talk a little bit about my personal experience as a student at Hillsboro High School. I think there's actually a deeper issue at play here. I think it was an issue when I was in school there, and it seems to still be an issue. And the issue, I think, is it's always seemed like school administrators at Hillsboro were dead set on addressing every conflict in the most punitive way possible. It always seemed like administrators had tunnel vision, and they saw liability as the only factor that mattered, instead of viewing it as one factor among many. To some extent, I can empathize with that mindset, because I've been in leadership positions. I've been in positions where I was responsible for, the well-being of people that I was supervising. So, to some extent, I can empathize with that. But the reality is that as a high school student, the last thing I needed was to be sheltered from the ugliness of the world. Because by the time I got to high school, I was already well aware of it. It was too late to shelter me at that point. What I really needed at that age was I needed teachers and administrators. I needed mentorship. I needed guidance. I needed help figuring out how to think critically about the complexities of the world and how to navigate them in a practical, smart way. That's what I needed from the school. But like I said, the administrators seem to have their blinders on. And I like to think that they were doing what they thought was the best thing, but the reality is that my experience at this school held me back, because administrators, right, wrong, or indifferent, tried too hard to shelter me. So in summary, I just want to see the school take responsibility for the perception that they've created, regardless of what your all's intent was. And I would really like to see you all address the deeper root issue that's at play here, which is reevaluating the way you handle conflicts and trying to take a more complete view of these situations so that you can give your students a better experience and actually prepare them for the real world. So that's all.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? I can yield a couple minutes.
Well, next up, we have Andrew Sexton. Andrew.
Good evening. My name's Andrew Sexton. I have two daughters that are in the Hillsboro school system. One was going to be in the play that was canceled. I am not from Hillsboro. I am from Dayton. But again, my children go to school here, and I came from Dayton to speak about the play and the impact it had on my daughter. So as a history buff, when I hear Hillsboro Board of Education, I learned about the Lincoln School. That 2-year legal battle to integrate African Americans into the school district. That case received national attention. It highlighted this community at the time and the bigotry that was expressed through the Board of Education. Now that was in the 1950s. So fast forward to 2021. Canceling the school play has once again cast this community into the national light. Once again, this attention is highlighting the historic bigotry of the board. I am an adjunct professor part-time. As such, I tell my students that school is the marketplace of ideas. When you agree with whether you agree with a person's point of view or not, when you have your own mores challenged by opinions of others, it's an opportunity for growth, for change, or at the very least, understanding. This board should support that concept. However, as in the 1950s, you've shown this community and students that bigotry is alive and well here. As adult role models for students, you are failing, at least at this point. So now is your opportunity. Show this community and students and the nation that's watching that the old cliche, history repeats itself, is not true here. Don't continue the legacy of your forefathers. Make a bold statement, even in the face of the religious right, that even though individual board members may not agree with the content of the play, your role is to speak for the community as a whole. This community is not full of hate. Paraphrasing the Bible from the Gospel of Matthew, by your fruits you will be known. Will you show the nation your good fruit, or will you show that hate and bigotry are not only a part of the history, but once again a sad fact, a reality, once again supported by this board? It's time to do better. It's 2021, not 1950. Do better than your past, ladies and gentlemen. Be that agent of change that's needed in Hillsboro. Change course and let the play go on. Thank you.
And next, we have Savannah Sexton.
my name is Savannah Sexton, and I am currently a sophomore at Hillsboro High School, representing the class of 2024 as their class president and the cast and crew of She Kills Monsters. I was an actor in the play She Kills Monsters before it was abruptly canceled. I want to be able to work with the board in putting in place a new set of rules and regulations that is fair for the directors and the actors to go by, so that future plays and musicals get the chance to not only entertain the community, but also as an opportunity for students to express their creativity and in this case encompass difficult things that members of the LGBTQ+ community go through every day in and outside of school. As members of the school board, it should be your number one priority to ensure that school is not only a place for education, but also a place meant for personal growth, learning, and acceptance of oneself and others. The productions put on by the high school theater program are supposed to be a chance for young artists to come together and create a performance because that's just what we do best. The expectation that all of the future plays we do are going to be strictly rated G is unrealistic and biased. For example, the first performance that was put on in the new auditorium, the musical showcase last spring, featured classics such as Annie Jr., The Sound of Music, The Little Mermaid, and Mean Girls, one of which is rated PG-13. Imagine if a student from Hillsboro High School wanted to attend a college and they had only experience performing G-rated shows. They would be uneducated and behind in the theater program. As high school students, we should be able to be doing high school performances. I understand that the school spent a lot of funding on building the auditorium and are extremely excited to share it with the community. However, the reason this situation was offensive to the arts community and others was the time in which things happened. As a group, we had already spent several hours of our time and energy trying to put things together. My fear is that this will happen again, and I want to do the best that I can to address this in a fair and responsible way. My hope is that as a group, you will start to prioritize the arts not only because we provide you with entertainment, but because you genuinely care about your students and the diversity of our school as much as myself and many others do, and work with us to ensure that this does not happen again in the future. Thank you for this opportunity and your time.
Next up, we have Christopher Cronin.
I would like to yield my time to Duncan Pickering Polstra.
Well, we're doing pretty good on time if you want to go ahead.
I didn't get an email back when I submitted, so I didn't know to prepare anything.
Hi everybody,
Go right on ahead.
I am Duncan Pickering Polstra. I am a senior. I was Chuck in the ill-fated production of She Kills Monsters. I am disappointed. Somehow, in an administration hallmarked by a consistent failure in respecting and caring for the arts and the students involved in them, I am disappointed. Almost 3 years ago, you failed us when you dismissed David White, an incredibly talented and skilled director who was very, very loved right before our performance of Oklahoma. Now you have done it again. Again, you trod upon our effort and resolve to do what we love. Again, you trample upon our love, our passions, our hope, and even who we are as people. You allowed yourselves to be swayed by the shouts of a small, bigoted sect of the community, shutting down not only my dreams, but the dreams of so many people that I can know and that I care for. People that you should care for, that obviously don't. People like Elena Pickering Polstra, my sister, a funny, amazingly kind young woman who never deserved to have her existence as a lesbian denied by you. Riley Griffin, Christopher Cronin, Brendan Cronin, Savannah Sexton, Toby Reno, Keaton Mahan, Isabella Patton, Mia Mercado, Kaya Cheney, Molly Smith. These are the names of people you let down. And you know what? We win. We'll get our show. Though you're flailing in the dark like a cornered animal, desperate to wipe as much of the egg off of your faces as possible, we'll get our show. Though you've decided to put your egos over doing the right thing, we will get our show. It's not too late, though. You can still show that you have the capacity to do good by us. apologize. Please. Give us our opportunities back. Put aside your pride and start doing what you should be doing. Care about your students.
Next up, we have the Reverend Terry Williams.
Is it okay if I just speak from here?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
My name is the Reverend Terry Williams. I'm pastor and teacher at Orchard Hill United Church of Christ in Chillicothe. And I have to confess a little apprehension. You see, I grew up in Waverly. So usually as a child, when we were coming into Hillsboro, it was to lose at basketball or football or any other given sport. I give great thanks for being able to be with you today. And you may be asking, what's this guy from Chillicothe doing all the way over here on Route 50? Those of us in the United Church of Christ, we're a rather small denomination, but we're the Church of the Pilgrims. Many of you will be celebrating our first holiday here in a couple of weeks, Thanksgiving. We do not have a congregation in Highland County and have not for some time. So congregations like mine that are near Hillsboro take care of those few parishioners who still, as families, choose to live in this area. There are several families that relate to our congregation and many more that are friends of the congregation in your school district. And some of them contacted me very concerned when this play was canceled, primarily because they were concerned about issues of freedom of speech and religious freedom. Whether or not it has been the intent, again, as has been already well established here, the impact of allowing loud voices of a particular religion and a particular pastor in your region, who you all are well aware, allowing that to influence decision-making or even appear to influence that decision-making has given the cast to many individuals, many who contacted me, that the board is participating in religious censorship. And that deeply concerns me. I know that it's difficult doing the jobs you do. Nobody chooses to be on the school board for fame and glory and money. The work that you do is often thankless work, often done without the benefit of a large audience. And I understand that your intent, in my belief, is always to hold the students in the best good. My concern is that at this point, the image and the impact in the community is that the school board may be engaging in the endorsement of one religious viewpoint over another. I want to be clear, as a member of the United Church of Christ, of Orchard Hill United Church of Christ, the Heartland Conference of the United Church of Christ in Ohio, West Virginia, Northern Kentucky, and the entire denomination, we support lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people in all elements of life and society, including life and society in our church. It is part of our pilgrim faith and our pilgrim heritage that over the last 400 years, new light has broken forth again and again from Scripture to enlighten us and to enlighten the whole world. We believe religiously that inclusion is important because we believe that it is God's will. That is our religious concern and our religious belief. We hope that our religious beliefs are welcome in Hillsboro. We hope that our religious beliefs are not being censored out and legislated away by the actions that are taken in this place. And I would appeal to you, regardless of what has gone on before or what your heart may be feeling, the hardness or the frustration at hearing a lot of this pain, for there is much pain in this place. I would ask you to think forward. What kind of a hopeful future is possible if you place at the center of any deliberation the concern for including all the members of the school district? I am here at the invitation of individuals in this community, and I'm going to remain here as long as there is an invitation, because it is important to me and to the people of my denomination, and indeed my congregation, that we have freedom wherever there is an opportunity to engage in society, whether that be the public school or the public square or anywhere in between. I appreciate all of you and all of the hard work that you do. And I want you to know you are in my thoughts and my prayers. May God be with you as you make these important decisions. Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Anna Fleming.
She's just standing with me. I have anxiety. I would like to be Justice Eli Fleming. Sorry for the correction. I am a transgender male student of Hillsboro City Schools. I didn't write anything down, but I would just like to say that I am severely disappointed that the play got canceled for multiple reasons. People that were in the cast and crew were working so very hard for so long for this play, and we were excited. Everyone was excited about it because we didn't even think it was going to get as far as it did. Sorry, I apologize. I have seen and experienced a lot of discrimination from the school, It's hard for me to go to school every single day because I don't know what I'm going to feel like. I don't know what's going to happen if I have gender dysphoria. That's why I'm trans. And to be called the wrong things constantly every day by people, by adults who I'm supposed to feel safe with, it's hurtful. It hurts my education. It hurts the people around me. It hurts me. And so for a play with representation like this to get canceled just shows how much the school values their students, and not a good way. It shouldn't matter what gender, sexuality, race, religion, whatever. It should not matter. We're all people, and that's what you guys should be teaching at this school: acceptance and love.
And next up, we have Brandy Fleming.
On behalf of my mother, she's not here today. She would like to yield her time to anyone who would like to speak.
Did anybody else fill out a form this evening? Be heard? Okay. At this time, that will conclude our public participation for the evening. We thank you for all of your concerns that were voiced. We will be responding to those inside of 10 days and get back to you and address your concerns. I appreciate all of you. We appreciate the arts here. I am sorry to see that it has come to this situation, but we know that I so much want to speak from my heart right now. But we're sorry if you feel that that's the way things are. We love our kids here. We really do. Nobody's on this board not to do the best we can by our students. And that's just, like I said, that's from my heart. We definitely appreciate everyone's time, their patience with us this evening. At this time, we will be moving on with our agenda. And you are welcome to stay, or you are welcome to go. It is up to you, but we will resume